Hello? Can you hold on? Can you guys hear me? Hold on. Alright, so okay, we're back playing Ace Attorney Chronicles. This time I'm actually using. I guess I'm not using. Okay, hold on. So this time I'm not gonna go off. I'm not gonna take off my headphones midstream because I'm wearing a beanie or something, like a Mario beanie, and it actually makes the headphones not it makes the headphones more bearable to wear for a long amount of time. So I got that Mario drip on. That's what I got on. But I will be reading the dialogue like I did midstream. So I'll start. Isn't that so quick? Can I quit the sun? He just does not answer. Yes, when he stood at the foreign man, he was that young lad in black that myself did see.
Yes!
Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I told you already, that's only because I picked it up off the floor. Well, obviously, as the culprit, that's the only way you can explain it away. I had just finished drinking my coffee, and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And at exactly that moment, a gunshot rang in my ears. What events beyond our control life is? Sorry, what do you mean? In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas conversely, I failed to pick up the cobalt from the floor and found myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains, myself, I did see you, with pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was the Englishman, dining all by himself. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna press this statement. No, wait, I wanna go back. How do I go back? No. How do I go back? It's not working. I just have to... Okay. Oh god. Okay, so I guess clicking the left arrow isn't working. Or maybe I just barely missed it? I don't know. Okay, until I get... Okay, I guess I'll just... Honestly, it'll probably be better if I just start live streaming instead of... Well, you know... Like, instead of, like, just recording and then doing it. Because, like, it's probably more fun. Like, in some ways, you know? Alright, hold on. If I... Okay, actually, okay, I gotta check. I need to check. Key config. Here's what that says. So... How do I go back? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. I get it.
Yes!
You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
Objection!
Oh no. Definitely not Emma is playing banana. I think I saw a penguin syrup like video on that. Okay, what did he say? Objection! As he opened the panes to point out time and time again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. If only there'd been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason. There was. This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. Had a clinic? Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case. I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it would be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical... Yes.
Yes!
It could come out. It can come up.
Objection!
Alright. Also, if anyone it does type in the live chat, I have my phone on to the side. Like it just has the live chat pulled up because I don't think because like I'm just playing this on a normal computer. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's my oh my god. What? I gotta take a friggin' screenshot of this. I gotta take a screenshot. I have to take a screenshot. I'm taking a freaking screenshot, dude. Can I take a screenshot? F7, okay. Oh my god. I love that. I actually can't. Oh god. Oh my god. Alright. Oh my, I will freaking money. Oh god. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Also, I'm going to type something into the live chat. Here we go. That was from my phone. Right, I hear you. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Kodakuta-san. Well, can I read it?
Yes!
Okay, hold on, I'm doing it. E. Can I not read it? Actually, no, wait. Based off this, it's in Japanese. I cannot read Japanese. No, but wait. It's translated into English. My brain really just said, wait, no, it's probably written in Japanese. I am an idiot. I am an actual idiot. Medical report card. A medical report card from Hata Clinic that was found in the victim's pocket. Okay, so like... Hold on. Okay. They both... Hold on. So they both just looked away as if to be like, nope, we didn't see anything. Like, okay, I have some suspicions about this. Like, I'm going in blind here. Alright. Wait, maybe the doctor was the woman. Because if Ryunosuke saw a woman, like, by the professor, maybe that's the woman. Maybe the doctor was the woman. I mean, this is Ace Attorney. Anything could be the truth. Alright. I'm gonna be right back. I'm back. Alright. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are ones you may examine. Press space and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use the arrow keys to rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using last, you can move the crosshair around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshair starts to pulsate, press space to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. I saw that. Some kind of medical history. Okay. That's new. Alright. We're cooking, we're cooking, we're cooking. We're cooking over here, we're cooking. Alright, here we go, here we go. Nah, he was definitely not dining, dude.
Yes!
He was not dining. Ryunosuke just raising his hand to say, like, anything. Like, sometimes I think I'd do that, but most of the time I just, but a few times I actually start just talking. I don't know. I wish I could put first and foremost here. I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. I feel like in some cases that could be good advice, but also in a courthouse, that probably isn't the best advice. Like, if what you're thinking of saying is cursing out someone in the courthouse, that's probably not something you should just blurt out. It's something you should keep to yourself. Koda-san, this is a medical report belonging to the victim. Ah, I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up. Dear me. Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not one to enter court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. But that... Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There's certainly no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there was no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who could have possibly perpetrated the crime. Ryunosuke's just like, man, shut your... Bro has his eyes closed, he's ready to... Bro has his eyes closed, he's about to be like Mario in that one part of the movie, like, let's go. This medical report has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that? What? That must have petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hada Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you the victim had just had a tooth extracted. What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, cadet? He had orders not to eat? So what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't. Go on. Kotakuta-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed, sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Expertly done, partner. Objection! Objection! What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are basic accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely. So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat? Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the pictured beef steak? Case over in the corner like, oh sorry blood, that was me. Sorry bro, that was me. he was having a very light snack. Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? No, right. The answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been... me! 2 witnesses, the victim himself. I half want to just say me, but I'll save that. I'll save that. Alright, I'm gonna save that. Here we go. Okay. I'm saving that. I'm saving that. Alright. An as yet unknown third party. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. Objection! You will not let us go, will you? There was no such person. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. The court decides to push through a ruling at this stage. We will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Kazuma, are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with this. What do you mean? I have issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand. What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury? And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? Oh. Hold it. Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they, told us. Oh. What? What did you just say, Korakuda-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now hold on, lad. I was, say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What? Objection! What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements. Is this true, you pair? They're screwed. Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order. Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. You know dang sure that you knew everything about this. This guy, is this the face of someone who knew absolutely nothing? First, he hides a medical report card which says that the victim literally could not have been eating. And next he says, "Oh, I knew nothing that these guys were lying. Most definitely. I'm just a little guy. Don't hurt me. I knew nothing." Like, nah, I ain't buying that. And you're going bald? Looking like Dr. Phil up in here, LG. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? That's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke. Judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas about how might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we need evidence before making any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it really was, whoever it really did. Whoever it was really did wield her power here. But how? How can we possibly? Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Yeah, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait, Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this? Well, Your Excellency. No time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... I mean, I'd say this... I'd say this guy. I would say this guy. I'm gonna try it.
Yes!
There. What do you make of that? I think, counsel, that you may want to close your ears as well as your eyes. Otherwise, the sighs of disappointment in the courtroom may very well deafen you. If you feel you must close your eyes in a crisis, might I suggest you keep your mouth shut next time, too? Otherwise, I may have to use the influence I have in this courtroom to shut it permanently. I don't know what it is about that prosecutor exactly, but he really makes me wince in pain sometimes. I don't have a great deal of influence myself, but believe me, I can find other ways to make you keep your mouth shut as well. Alright, don't get angry. I'll think again. There must be a clue somewhere in all the evidence in the court record. Actually, now that I think about it, there might be some piece of evidence I haven't thoroughly examined yet. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Kusunaga. But yes, business card suit didn't show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh, Chief Inspector Satoru Kusunaga. Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. Let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. If they're wielding it somehow here, the waiter's business card information has been updated in the court record. Alright, so it's the waiter.
Yes!
It's the waiter. Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection!
Poppycock. What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter cannot possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were a waiter. If he truly were? Come on, Rinasuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosanaga's real identity, as proven by this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Anyway. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back, the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon. Or perhaps I should have said the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. It's where the telling detail is. Can somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. I don't know how to say it. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power, as far as regular citizens are concerned. So, witnesses there on the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Hold it. Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized there was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle, but I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Of course, your salary must be terrible. Does it show up in history? I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga. But you will elaborate on the one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner, therefore I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you require these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Alright, I'll be right back again. correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable. As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite this victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an English woman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed up the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yuma University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. I'm fairly certain that one of them is studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory. Is a young English woman. What? You're shrewd, man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean? When I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yuma University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection!
But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings in my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So, it won't be a problem? Nothing will get in my way. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency. Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. Save your current progress. Okay, hold on. Okay. Jeez, this is a long case, though. '22nd of November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendant's Antechamber 5. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Barrett, a student from Great Britain. Is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, because I was shut in the pantry. I had no idea what happened outside the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikitoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system, even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life. I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma? Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? Now, if you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was visiting Professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement in our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to cross that case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then, I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo. Your recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you'd believed in me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then, I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. Truly one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on the University Street. The next large portion occurs. Okay. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Ugh, sorry. Let the government scrutinize, that's their job. It's nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders? Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, and the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on, you really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this where our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy. You and your friend know nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. Now by aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. Standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. That said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. Hey, little brats! Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume, with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes. Your Excellency? But it's advantages to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Tea. Someone bring the English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea. Is that true? No idea. So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is... We know all about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, what are your manners in England? It's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are one thing you're sure of. Yes, I think I did, didn't I? Your description for this amazing sight was simply the woman. Sorry, Ryusuke, the powers of observation aside, powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... Oh, is that... Her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yuma University's medical faculty. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was beautiful. So. As far as I can tell. The detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Or you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryusuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called the Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? Wait, so that's 7 words? 7 words for yes. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? No, she's speaking Japanese. 7 words. 13 words. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the bureau. Oh, now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say it would appear the lady did witness the crime? The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Order in the court. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. This is Ace Attorney, nothing is conclusive. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. frightening and sorrowful sight. Please tell me it just gives us what he says. Because despite everything, despite what happened, I only really need what he says. No, hold on, crap. I had arranged a meeting for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. This is condemning. Yes. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all. Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted black god. Look at this. Racist ouchie. I'm sure even a dark-minded skeleton. Oh god. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. Ugh. You're still making the same mistakes, Rinosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's the lesson you need to learn. It'd be so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there was nowhere about a person where she could conceal a firearm. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. Ugh, that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift a... What? Don't think about doing anything rash. But I didn't fire the gun I picked. There must be another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. A frightening and sorrowful sight. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor wasn't able to eat, so I ordered for myself only beef steak. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day.
Yes!
After 2 p.m., in fact. It's really quite a late lunch, isn't it? You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are en vogue. What does that mean? I'm sorry, I'm American, that must be it. Like, nothing against that. Because, like, I don't know much about other places in the world. Maybe in, like, Britain, they say things like that. Like, maybe in Britain they say en vogue, but as far as I can tell, no one I know says that. I love how that's the one word she just pronounces. Like, that's the one word that you can actually read, just no. Besides English, no has quite a swing to it. I just speak the language, I don't know all of it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems, so it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment after the clinic at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes. That all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. Okay. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? The professor was unable to eat, so... Okay, hold on.
Yes!
I said I did not shoot that gun. Like I said, there's no point repeating that assertion over and over. Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side. Well, nevertheless, the defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang on the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand. Well, yes, that's true, but all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. Honestly, that's something I would do. Honestly, like if I see something that I'm mildly interested in, like, oh, what's that? Yeah, I'd probably pick it up and be like, oh. In fact, yes. There was someone much closer to the victim than me at that time. The highly suspicious lady in the stand. That will do, you're scoundrel. Dirty. The baseless accusations can very well cause an international incident, boy. It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours. What nonsense. The lady is merely stating what she saw. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyway. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Yes!
It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes, immediately after the incident. I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." That's all you did? You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No. Why on earth not? The Honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated she did not possess a weapon. Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps. Think what you will, but if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that the refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts. I say the hat. Like, I say it was the hat. Like, if there's anything at all that the gun could be hidden, I'd say it was, I say it was the hat. Like, the hat is the most friggin'... The hat is the most obvious conclusion. The lady wishes to point out that of course she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation, but she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get the woman out of there. Not to get her out of there, I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime. Which is why she's only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course. Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. You could at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm goading you. So, she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor, at the end of which you shot him. Which is an out and out, totally unfounded lie. Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform, dressed like the same way you are, except for the flapping red ribbons. Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony to the fiction that is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even you, with your thick skin, must be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from me around the room. Only too well. I feel half dead already. The fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony doesn't make me feel any better either. First thing to do is press her on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that, and an opening will present itself. I promise you. We should expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind the mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination. Okay.
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed how to put it, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here, is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it is, exactly as it was left with the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left. Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world, and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right. Other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Rinosuke, about the witness's last statement? I'd say it's meaningful. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing, He has nothing. The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well, sidestepped counsel. Very well. Miss Brett? Kindly repeat what you had just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was pretty, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Rinosuke. I ordered a beef steak for myself and the professor, and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. Let me just take a picture and take a look at this.
Yes!
There's something wrong with that, but I don't know what it is. Most definitely. The way he just looked at the invisible camera like, you seeing this crap, people? That's it. Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photograph. Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene, that it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd, very odd. Dear me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself. Ugh. Rinosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ah. You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here. Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over whatever? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case? Minutiae, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed the glass from this table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try and tell me you can clink with only 1? You are quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious. Sorry. Javale Bread or whatever. The first furry. We must remember that the student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in a state of disarray? That's absurd. Oh, really? So do we take it now that you were going to accuse this vulnerable, young and beautiful woman of mischief? What? This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know. Exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped into a small handbag. She had a handbag? Javale Brett, you had a handbag? Giselle, what's your name? What was your name? Sorry, you're too suspicious for me to care. Giselle Brett, okay. You had a handbag, Giselle? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England. So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. The student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. There's a deeper significance there. It's the handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting... Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. No. Order, order, order. What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Professor Ouchie? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? They see your bungling incompetence. Now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Brilliant work, partner. Now you have a chance to expose the real woman behind the slaughter. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. The police did. It was unnecessary, because the police already did, didn't they? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. The print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ugh. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. No! Alright, here we go. Order! Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. The photograph of the handbag has been entered into the court record. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. Not the Phoenix Wright pose. The court has now been shown in considerable evidence. As the photographic print has just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, there is only one logical conclusion. The pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryusuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat, while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. In fact, you can chew under your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. I'm really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma, is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. It which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well, I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little Inosuke Naruhodo. Having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you. Wait, Your Excellency. Inosuke. I don't think you can rule on this case yet. This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question. This blatant straw clutching. Look at the photographic print. All shows the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. You better know what you're doing, Inosuke. I understand your objection, Counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded. Okay. Okay. Oh, I gotta think hard about this. Gotta think hard. Look at the handbag. If it was completely see-through, you can't really do anything there, right?
Yes!
Just here, I feel sure we're on this.
Objection!
When there is nothing specific, I already know. I'm cooked. I'm cooked if I can't figure this out. Guys, I'm cooked. I am cooked here. Oh god. But you need to look further. Examine everything. Otherwise you might miss an important clue. Always try to see the whole, and don't be blinkered by individual details. I know you can do it. If I could do it, then I wouldn't have pointed out the wrong part of the picture just now. Well, unfortunately, I must do as I promised. You had your chance, Counsel.
Hold it!
Wait, Your Excellency. The court should give consideration to the fact that this man is an amateur. One more chance, please. Well, I suppose he is just kind of a student lawyer with little sense of protocol in these matters. I'm starting to feel insulted here. So take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. What about this?
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist. Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. No, there's gotta be a way. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of the mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchie points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and of the university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn has something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case, then if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence... But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. I see it, I see it, I see it, I see it. You want to know what I see? This. This is what I see it. What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn? Oh, you'll see it. You'll see it right here. The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Your Excellency, are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of the Carnival. Ah! This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Rinosuke, you genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day after that. Most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of the Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter.
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. Yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that'd be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antique dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. That's right. Wouldn't you agree, Professor Ouchie? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but... I'm starting to think that maybe... we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn on his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already dead. No man can remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting... Yes, it's only possible. If the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness. Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts. No, Professor Ouchie, it's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down, or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But, Your Excellency, the justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. What? Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? They're speaking English in this translation, but still. Well, of course I do. I'm studying in your country after all. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. I don't know, sometimes English is kind of weird. It's not very elegant, if you ask me. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of the English gentleman. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. No, well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration that you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're finally going to get to hear our own words on this matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. That most captivating, beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that's the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight to merely hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little boy of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be our final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with this cross-examination. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when this poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
No, that's not it. That statement is clearly odd. What appears to be odd is the way you're presenting yourself. Oh, pay no attention, Your Excellency. As you wish. Now kindly lower your hand. Never. Not until I've proven that I'm innocent here. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork, fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there was no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death. It can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But to make sense, the burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, it's true. If he'd pulled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burned his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet, the fact is, the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time. Alright. So that got me nowhere. So, what do I do now? There's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace. Please do show me. Of course, this country's inferior. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store found everything at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. The carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to prevent the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can. You understand? Akira, bro. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning new information. I'm turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. Must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something has been bothering me. Bothering me? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if I might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Oh, crap.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman is to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with A and D, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with space. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then. So first I should move the marker across with A and D, and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with space, and see what's on his mind. Here we go.
Wait. Excuse me.
Yeah, what's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looks like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please, share with the court. What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over, immediately. Now, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as yours in Great Britain. That's why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the crime scene. It's preserving evidence, you know. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I can guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will gladly looks at the glass bottle of water as evidence. The carbonated water bottle has been entered into the court record. Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. It was that bottle. It was that bottle of water. Bottle of carbonated water. I can confirm, Your Excellency, it was that carbonated bottle of water. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well, counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast.
Yes.
Nothing with that, okay? Alright, so that didn't work. Let me try pressing her on that. As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember, which explains why he ordered that drink, correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Okay, okay. I'm not, okay. Darn you. Nah, I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of others in course, it means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. Alright, we gotta see if there's anything. Yes. We've gotta see if there's anything. We have something new, I have a new tool, so we gotta see. Is there any chance, any chance that there's anything that we have left here?
Yes.
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police forces thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish thought! Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question? On my honor, hi, Takatsuchi Alchi, cut down any who dare cast such aspersions, whatever, however you say that word. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. Of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. No evidence. Excellent work, Rinosuke. Never even thought of pursuing another witness over the current witness's statements. That was a great idea of yours, Kazuma. Well, it was all thanks to you noticing the detective had reacted strangely to what the lady said. I'd have never guessed he had all that bubbling away under the surface. To be honest, you keep surprising me at every turn. Sorry? Oh, never mind. So we know that Dr. Wilson was killed at around the time the steak was brought to his table, and by some means that left no physical trace on his body. If we could just demonstrate how it was done. Well, I do have one idea about that. About how the professor was killed. Let's just present the evidence and see what happens. I'll be right back, okay?
on that.
I'm thinking of trying to stream Minecraft at one point. But anyways, alright, here we go. Let's press you on that statement. Alright, here we go. Bruh. Alright. There we go. Anyway.
That's besides the point. That's besides the point, bucko.
Is basically what they're just saying. How about this? I'm gonna shoot my shot. See, this counts as a way for the man to die without a trace. In this case, to show like so I'm not put in that place. Specifically, so Ryunosuke is not put in prison. Because now he's referring to poison. Poison?
Poison, bucko? What you were talking about?
On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order. And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have possibly done it. Giselle Brett. It was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous. There's just such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. If I may... actually, I will silence you first. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady. Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No!
I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Except you, Ouchie. You'll be speaking Japanese. Thank you. Oh, but of course, dear lady. This pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution has asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present at the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Please, wait. Isn't that? What's the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikatoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikatoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. It's getting crazy. This be getting crazy. Alright, let's see. We got this. I think, hold on, be right back. Make it easier for her tea. Alright, I'm back. How long have I been streaming for? Dang, that's a lot. That's a long while. Alright, here we go. Oh wait, I forgot. I forgot the freaking beanie I was wearing. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Alright, I see. I got it. Alright. Here we go. Ouchie, you just wait. Just wait a couple, probably like 100 years or so. You'll see. This will be commonplace, ouchie. Sure, what's that? Sorry, I'm eating. Time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful. Thank you. Goodbye then, and good luck. Things ain't looking good. Ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yeah, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. Look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency. If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer. It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid Not so very long until tea time. Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realized it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? Attend-win, everyone. Attend-win, everyone. Here we go. Okay.
Yes!
Miss Giselle Brett. We understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at the Yuma University, doing research. Research by sheer coincidence, perhaps into a deadly poison. What? Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel? A toxin known as Curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering your body leads to instant death.
Objection!
What complete and utter nonsense! Curare, you say? Never even heard of it. You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Curare before, for one very simple reason. Rare. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist? Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify Curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What? Order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report, authored by the visiting research student from England, Curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. Claims that the animals shot by arrows laced with Curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! These aspersions are trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, yet the diners surely would have noticed. That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? It literally said instant death. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Curare was used. Explain yourself, counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible! Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. Poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous. To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curare poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison? This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hetero-annoying poison for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense. If I may, all these facts, you think you're so clever, but you must be taught some... Shut up! Shut your... It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady... So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. What's so funny? Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? She's gonna smash it, won't she? I don't see him. Why not? She's just gonna smash it. Ah, wait, no, there... Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. Sorry. To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtrooms antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers. Wait, what are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. And let me guess, there's no poison in the bottle. Goodness, whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned. So, no curare. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so consciously here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Ah, yes, dear lady. Be most gratified with all the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water. Check the court record, check the court record. Okay, hold on. Now it does contain poison. The culprit did put curative poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection!
Fool! Are you blind? There's no possible way that bottle can contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it. That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume the supposedly poisoned water unscathed? The report itself. The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report. That's not a valid explanation, no? After all, we don't speak English. That report is other gibberish. That impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Suzuho-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle? Some special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this cure poison, and it's left me curious about something. Oh, counsel? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So I've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, counsel, no, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When cure enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew Curier's special characteristics, and you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little rapscallion! Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer?
Objection!
Man, it's almost like it's almost like an ascendant of mine is going to be a lawyer, an ace attorney, so to speak. Rising like a phoenix. Turning things to managing to always turn out to be right when they believe they're good. Phoenix, that's right. I'm sorry, I can't. Oh, this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how it possibly. Shut up! So the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, cure is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric suckers. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers. But are they? So, this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk. The professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? Huh. That's right. Good gracious. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? Order in court. Order. The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they'd be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest? Yes, this cure poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. Nah. If you remember, he had a molar extracted. That'd probably be an open wound. That'd be an open wound. So if more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down. Oh God.
Objection!
Objection! I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence. As we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested, why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the curé? Go back to the medical report.
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference? The toxic effects of curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes. Like the wounds you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are all so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No. I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. Nope. What just happened? It's the English woman. She just smashed that bottle, and in the Supreme Court. What a terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible at once. You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of the mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle or not. You. And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady? That's right, and really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The professor was sitting with his back to me. So, of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the schoolboy. No, you killed the victim that day, using pure air, and then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest, and delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Ugh. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke, we've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? You've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, it must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend upon. Well, yeah, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. What I saw, what I felt. Every color. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of this same scene in my head, could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. Yeah, you always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe the smug smile off that English woman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while. Oh god. It's been nagging me for a while, but something feels amiss in my memories of that day. I do not know what this word means, but I'm not saying it again. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth all about this. I mean, about all this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer is must have been.
Take that!
Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? He's still miles away, probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the crime scene. Like, for instance, the plate that you took to the victim's table that day.
Objection!
Wait a minute. Where are you going with... Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the table wooden base of the plate the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Yes. If the blood had made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter, which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Giselle Barrett. I beg your pardon.
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing? This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean... Yes, I took the plate in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. You did what? I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on the Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it. Now! Inspector! The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered. The steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector, the blood, man. Show the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. No. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no, it's impossible. I know I saw it, I'm sure of it. It's right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. I'd say that's a bit racist. I couldn't agree more. In the case of the disgrace to the Empire, I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. Let's pretend the attempt at the courtroom proceedings is painful to watch, but I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? This is it now. I've lost. It's okay. It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? I don't know what to do here, so I'm gonna save. I'm gonna go with there's another clue. Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. A clue that will reveal the shocking truth. The only thing that's shocking here is the unhealthy fascination with beef steak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett. We must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly found ally of my country, that's still your position, isn't it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show to link the quote to what you are alluding. What precisely on this plate of beef steak is this new clue to be found? Okay. Okay. So, we need to look everywhere. That looks a bit weird to me.
Got it!
Alright.
Got it!
Ah, crap. You know what? I'm just gonna load it. Alright, here we go. Let's just say nothing else. No, I'm really clutching at straws now. That would fly in the face of common sense. You know, it flies in the face of common sense. That someone like you with no experience as a lawyer can last this long in a trial like this. How did you... Opportunities are always there for the taking, but only for those with the determination to grab them. Let's have another good look at that steak. Maybe I should examine the evidence in more detail. Well, a deafening silence from the defense. I will take that as your final answer on the matter. Your Excellency, please wait. Alright, here we go. So there is something on the beefsteak that we have to figure out. Alright. How about the steak itself?
Got it!
No? Okay. Alright.
Got it!
Okay. I'll try this again, okay. We gotta figure this out. Here we go. Alright, so I failed, so I gotta try this again. Okay. So there's gotta be
Got it!
just right here? No, I think I've already tried that. Here we go. So, hold on. Okay. Hold on. So here. Oh! Huh? Yo! Okay, hold on. I got this. I know this. I got this. This is the wrong stake. It's the wrong stake. A Koban? What on earth? The Hoei era one, that. Miss Brett. This is in fact the beef steak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I don't want no part of it. I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? This could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction. Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? This turns out to be irrelevant to the case. I'll rip my ticket to Great Tip Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel? A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give my lawyer job right now. By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway. Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant, even though I'm the one on trial here. The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that stake. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beef steak is Kiryu Korekuda. Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Rasute, Kiryu Korekuda-san. Kyure, as in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened, at exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoei era Koban, my prized coin. Then this Hoei era Koban, do you mean to tell me? No, please, why would Korekuda-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense. Which is why I'm asking to bring Korekuda-san back to the witness stand, so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here, without a moment's delay. I can't believe we've come back around to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it's a key element in the case. Four witnesses total. Oh my god. What's all this about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize that it's dinner time for little baby Ido? One of my son's buddies. He's faster than the pack of lions. Whatever. Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear a false witness, and when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Rasute shop owner's existence. Be that as it may, Kodakuda-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you ever seen this koban? But what? The splendiferous holy treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be, as I thought. Young man, in light of this decrepit old fool, put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? No, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices. Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody concealed my holy treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate. Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing. Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, that I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. The Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported. To the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely this koban incident is the work of the same thief. So, unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korakuda-san's koban is all too clear. What? What? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Korakuda-san's koban and hid it under the steak? Ayesanosa.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Ayesanosa. What? How dare you? You monster. Monster? I stole that koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet. But it wasn't me, it was Ido. Ido was... You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby. It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Ayesanosa, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. Do any of you know the extraordinary low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. I've heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. Your target that day was the old man in his koban? Yes. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I'd owe too, so I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time. Well, Miss Brett.
No, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. Maybe, esteemed gentlewoman, please be excused, Your Excellency.
Indeed. The theft of the koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant, which certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder.
Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat.
The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? Well, as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Queen Super, what's the matter with you? There's just no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard, sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. This trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction? What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see evidence, counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where's the evidence to prove it?
Take that!
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed. Yes, go on. More accurately, Your Excellency. The steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're just splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural? Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed, no Englishman can even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. And take a good look at the steak, particularly the edge where it's been eating. you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. Ooh. Looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, then there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all. But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry. Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Good afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in this place. Shut up. I've had enough, you irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Of course. Dear lady. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications those teeth marks in the steak have for her. Minosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yes, now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept these teeth marks in the steaks are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase. Typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been? What? But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist. This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? That can't be. I don't believe you have it. I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair? I say Hosonaga. The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? It's ridiculous. No. I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this steak with the teeth marks. Yes? Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Kodakuta-san's coin, he told us that he'd slipped it under the steak. You watch it, Cadet. I am a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak? Attention! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me handling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the steak that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection!
But that makes no sense. The plate that was taken from that plate was taken from the victim's table. Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest the Sergeant switched the two steaks over. You did switch the plates. Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. And as I said, I immediately lifted my stick and hid the coin underneath it. But then, when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my stick with the one on the foreign lady's table. What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done. Unbelievable. I mean, I was gonna say you just chose the wrong steak, but okay. However, fear not, Prosecutor-san. What now? I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform. That is all I did, sir.
All you did?
That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
So if Sergeant knows to switch the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosanaga. Yes? Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak out of the incident, but also the sergeant's. That to preserve evidence, you had taken both. Ah. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually in the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
Shut up!
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slap of for me can't have the slightest bearing on the case. No, you're not wriggling your way out of it this time, lady. I beg your pardon? Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promised to prove such a problem for you, no? You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me. The reason the defense asked to see that plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing. Thinks he remembers. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this trial any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beef steak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Yes, sir. Sorry for keeping you. Here is the other steak in its plate. Please, feel free to examine it. The blood stain. It's clearly visible. Look!
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim. It can't be. In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. It's Giselle Brett. It's you. Outdone by a Japanese. Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No. No. No!
Yeah.
The hat's trying to fly away. No. What was that? Oh, I freaking love Ace Attorney, dude. I love Ace Attorney. Oh god, I could not have predicted that at all. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth, this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life, using cure air. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because cure air is unheard of here in Japan. Yes, of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would be all over. I would place the steak I'd ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? It's just such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of cure air in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt? So I was right. There were two guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. A place where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I had intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point, he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruhiro-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around. Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he'd picked up the gun. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency. Yes? I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhiro-san. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement?
This can't be. Takatsuchi Auchi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student.
You'd better start getting used to tough opposition.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yeah? This insult to the Aochi family name will never be forgotten. You become conceited with age, Council. Let the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. A 1,000 millennia may pass, and still, the Aochi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case. I thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what it will look like I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asogi. Yes? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can. Absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Ah, never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, yes? In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency. It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty. Nice. This court is now adjourned. November 22:46 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendants hand to Chamber 5. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial. Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yuma University Street, don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence, not incidents. I'll trust judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know. I know, I didn't do anything. Oh, thank you so much. If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate. Your father? Oh, yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikatoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Speaking of Mikatoba... Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job. Thank you, Professor. No, it is I who should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend. Good friend? Oh, yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yuma University, wasn't it? Yes, that's right. Professor Mikatoba studied overseas himself.
You went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably that's when you met Dr. Wilson? Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital. Oh, you worked together? I've never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Hisogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world. In science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Yeah, of course I am. Of course I am. Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. And cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. That reminds me. What happened to the woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but... What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now, right? She's the true culprit, after all. She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai. What? Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that. What? But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Hosonaga. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate. But what's all this about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? Then who? Who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear her case somewhere far away, where our voices can't be heard. Why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our governments making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan. I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. I don't believe it. The British government Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make a change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink. But Professor... You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Rinasuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. In that case, might I suggest La Carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. You're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about details for now. To La Carnival! Will you accompany us, Professor? Of course, the Carnival's full food is second to none. I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Oh, yes, thank you. So Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Kazuma. Yes, Rinasuke? I just wanted to say thanks again. That's all. You really saved my skin today. I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work.
Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not so sure about that. But to be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. Come on, be serious. If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer, I mean. Oh, no, not me. All that tense verbal combat, I never want to go through that ever again. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point? Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No. The ability to believe. To believe? To believe what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom you can really be backed into a corner, but being able to remain faithful to what you chose to believe in even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Believing in your client. Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stopped believing in me. Well, you face seemingly hopeless situations time and time again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. No, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... you're still here, are you? Oh, Inspector Hosonaga. I have arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. Be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes. That too. So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma, Professor Mikotoba, Sato-san, who acted as my assistant, Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play. It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. Oh, that was great. Oh, I gotta stream games blind more. I gotta do this more. Like, dang, that was great. Okay. Alright. Well, I guess for now that's the end of the stream, though. But I'll try to stream tomorrow. After all, so fun. I gotta do this second time. But bye for now. Have a great day.